In 2020, Target was on top of the retail world. The company added an impressive $15 billion in sales in a single year, more growth in 12 months than the prior decade combined. Shoppers lovingly nicknamed it Tarze, like a fancy nickname, flocking to its stores for cheap chic merchandise and a feel-good, inclusive vibe. But by 2025, things changed. Target's shares plunged 22% in a single day, erasing about $15.7 billion of its market value, and an estimated 5 million shopping trips vanished from its stores in just 1 month. How did an iconic retailer, once beloved for its style and values, end up alienating millions of customers practically overnight? Target's fall from grace is a story of how betraying your brand's own principles can trigger a consumer exodus. For years, Target basked in a halo as the upscale big box store with a conscience. It wasn't the cheapest retailer, but it offered trend-setting designer partnerships and inclusive values. That reputation set Target apart from rivals and earned it deep loyalty from many shoppers. But in May 2023, that halo started to flicker. Target's annual Pride Month collection, a colorful array of LGBTQ+ themed apparel and merchandise, ignited a firestorm. In some stores, angry customers tore down Pride displays and accosted employees. A bombastic campaign on social media urged a boycott of Target for being too woke, egged on by vocal conservative pundits, and even a few politicians. Videos circulated of shoppers angrily criticizing Pride-themed shirts and kids' items. Threats to worker safety began to surface. Facing this unexpected onslaught, Target made a drastic move. It pulled certain Pride merchandise from shelves, or hid the displays in some locations. Officially, executives said they acted due to volatile circumstances and to secure employees' well-being. In effect, Target hoped a tactical retreat would douse the flames of controversy. But that retreat came at a high cost. The very communities and loyal customers who had praised Target's inclusivity felt stunned, even betrayed. After over a decade of proudly touting Pride, Target's sudden about-face appeared to some as abandoning the LGBTQ+ community when things got tough. Advocacy groups demanded that Target reaffirm its commitment and not cave to bigotry. On social media, lifelong Target fans expressed disappointment and anger. The backlash had flipped. What began as outrage from one side of the cultural divide now boomeranged into a backlash from the other side. Target, in trying to offend no one, had managed to alienate almost everyone. Inside Target's headquarters, this was an almost impossible dilemma. By late 2023, the company was getting pummeled from both ends of the political spectrum. In other words, Target's attempt to appease critics only proved that the company could get pushed around. The result was a loss of identity. Shoppers were no longer sure if Target stood by its professed values or not. Trust, that priceless bond between brand and customer, had been deeply eroded, and as Target was about to learn, trust, once shattered, doesn't easily repair. The turmoil didn't end with Pride Month. In fact, it was only the beginning. As 2024 rolled on, Target's leadership grew increasingly skittish about anything that might draw political ire. The pressure culminated in January 2025 with a quiet, controversial announcement. Target said it would scale back or pause many of its DEI initiatives. Programs designed to support minority-owned suppliers were put on hold. To some observers, this looked like Target officially abandoning the progressive commitments that had set it apart. The timing was conspicuous. This DEI rollback was announced just as a new presidential administration, one openly hostile to woke corporate policies, took office. Indeed, Target wasn't alone. It joined a parade of companies like Walmart and Amazon in dialing down social initiatives amid political headwinds from the highest levels. But Target was the one with the bullseye on its back, precisely because it had talked up its values for so long. Accusations flew that Target had cynically betrayed the very values of diversity it once stood for. In late February 2025, a coalition of Black advocacy groups organized an economic blackout, urging shoppers to boycott Target for a day, or longer, to send a message. The protest had a large impact. Target's web traffic on the blackout day dropped 9%, while rival Costco's site saw a 22% surge in visitors from supportive consumers. Around the same time, a group of prominent Black faith leaders called for a 40-day boycott of Target through the Lent season. essentially telling their communities to shop elsewhere in protest.
We're talking about a company that was at the forefront of the George Floyd protest here. And for them to roll back their initiatives, unacceptable.
Target, for its part, issued carefully crafted statements insisting it was still committed to welcoming all and fostering inclusivity. But the damage had been done. To many, those words rang hollow against the backdrop of Target's actions. If Target's initial Pride pullback was a spark, the DEI reversal was gasoline on the fire. Public trust collapsed further, and not just among outspoken activists. Everyday shoppers, the kind who might not post hashtags or attend protests, noticed the controversy and felt a chill. The next time these customers thought about a Target run, some of them hesitated, and many ultimately decided, why not just go to Costco or Walmart instead? Companies can claim whatever they want in press releases, but hard numbers don't lie. And the numbers coming in after Target's controversies were shocking. According to an analytics report, Target stores saw about 5 million fewer shopping trips in a 4-week period following its DEI pullback, compared to the same time a year prior. That is an almost 10% plunge in foot traffic year over year, an extremely huge drop for a retail giant. In fact, Target's overall foot traffic fell roughly 9% in February 2025, and another 6.5% in March, even as some competitors actually grew their traffic. One competitor in particular was reaping the benefits of Target's stumble: Costco. During that same 4-week span, Costco stores gained about 7.7 million extra visits, more than making up for Target's losses. The data showed that many of Costco's new shoppers came from demographics that Target had alienated. For example, Latino customers made up about a third of Costco's increase, suggesting that minority shoppers unhappy with Target's direction simply took their business elsewhere. This consumer exodus was visible anecdotally as well. Longtime Target customers reported seeing emptier aisles and quieter stores than they remembered. Meanwhile, Costco parking lots were fuller than ever. People were literally switching allegiance in the retail landscape. A company that prides itself on customer loyalty found that loyalty slipping away en masse. The hit wasn't just to store traffic. Sales numbers began to reflect the disillusionment too. After enjoying huge growth in 2020, Target's revenue growth slowed to a crawl in 2022, and then turned negative in 2023 and 2024. In fact, Target's sales declined in both those years, an almost unheard of reversal for a retailer that had thrived during the pandemic. By early 2025, the trend still hadn't stabilized. Target's first quarter of 2025 saw same-store sales drop another 3.8%. Nearly every product category, from home goods to apparel, was down. Some of that can be blamed on inflation and consumers pulling back spending generally. But notably, Target's biggest rival, Walmart, grew sales during that period, highlighting that Target's declines were not just a macroeconomic story. Target's own goals, the Pride fiasco and the DEI retreat, had become self-inflicted wounds to its business. It's a slow, quiet drain of customers, harder to see than lines at a return counter, but far more devastating to a company's future. Consumer foot traffic wasn't the only thing in free fall. Investor confidence plummeted as well. Throughout 2023, Target's stock price had been under pressure from weaker sales and the overhang of controversy, but the biggest shock came on November 20th, 2024, when Target announced its holiday quarter outlook. Management's forecast was gloomy, citing worsening sales trends and softer profit expectations. The boycotts and negative publicity were hurting, and Target couldn't hide it. Investors panicked. Target's stock crashed 22% in a single trading day. That one-day collapse wiped out approximately $15.7 billion in market capitalization. To put that in perspective, in mere hours, Target lost value roughly equal to the entire annual revenue of a Fortune 500 company or the GDP of a small country. It was Target's worst stock rout in decades. This $15 billion mistake got everyone's attention on Wall Street. Analysts openly contrasted Target's performance with Walmart's, which remained solid and even upbeat in guidance. Target was suffering continued backlash from its controversial campaigns, while Walmart, which had kept its head down, was humming along just fine. The message to investors was that Target's management had misjudged their customer base and stumbled into a costly quagmire. Target went from being a market darling in 2020 to a company in need of a turnaround plan by 2024. Then came the lawsuits. In early 2025, a group of Target's own shareholders filed a class action lawsuit accusing the company of misleading investors about the risks of its social initiatives. Essentially, investors argued that Target's leadership should have seen this coming, that by diving into divisive social issues, or by retreating from them in a way that angered everyone, they put the company's performance and stock price in peril. The lawsuit points to the exact outcomes we've highlighted. Customers fled, and the stock plummeted. Not only did consumers lose faith in Target, so did some of the people who owned the company itself. Target's executives, one imagines, were chastened. The company insisted that its core strategy was still sound, and that it was merely tweaking policies. But having to explain a $15 billion market cap loss and a multi-million customer deficit is not a pleasant task in any boardroom. In Minneapolis, those boardroom discussions must have been sobering. The once invincible brand had hit an iceberg, and as with any ship taking on water, the clock was ticking to set things right. In the wake of this mass customer exodus and financial hit, Target has been scrambling to pick up the pieces. The company is now in full damage control and turnaround mode. Executives insist that Target is still the Target you know and believe in, and they've been meeting with community leaders to mend fences. There are reports of behind closed doors conversations with activists and even adjustments to certain policies after feedback. Essentially, Target is trying to thread the needle, quietly reinstate some of its inclusive practices to win back trust, without reigniting the fury from the other side. On the business front, Target is returning to retail fundamentals in hopes of luring shoppers back. It launched a strategic refocusing with new merchandise assortments and store remodels. The company has leaned heavily into its strengths: affordable fashion, exclusive designer collaborations, and owned brands. In spring 2025, for example, Target rolled out a high-profile Kate Spade product line in select stores. It's also expanding partnerships like Ulta Beauty mini shops and Starbucks cafes, and doubling down on e-commerce and convenience, like curbside pickup and same-day delivery. And unsurprisingly, Target has been touting price cuts and value more than ever, knowing that in tighter financial times, it must compete head-on with Walmart's low-price appeal. Essentially, Target's leadership is doing everything business school textbook to win back customers, refresh the stores, offer new products, emphasize value, and advertise like crazy. But it's unclear if that'll be enough. Winning back trust is far harder than losing it. Target now has to prove, through consistent action over time, that it truly means it when it says it welcomes all and values its customers. In any case, Target will have to listen carefully to its core customers. If there's a silver lining, it's that the company still has a huge base of shoppers who want to love Target again if given a reason. Customers have choices, and they won't hesitate to exercise them. Trying to play both sides or hide your true stance is a recipe for disaster. Target lost sight of that and paid dearly. It's a mistake that cost them billions of dollars and millions of shoppers. What's the conclusion here? Well, a retailer that once enjoyed praise from shoppers became a target, pun intended, for frustration and disappointment. The fallout was measured not only in quarterly earnings or stock charts, but in millions of everyday decisions by consumers to shop elsewhere. It shows that even a giant company is not fully invincible. It only thrives as long as it serves and respects its customers. For the rest of us, the story of Target serves as a lesson in both business and psychology. Trust and authenticity are priceless assets that no amount of marketing spend can easily rebuild once broken. It's a wake-up call to all brands about the cost of losing sight of who you are and who you serve. What are your thoughts? Did Target make a grave mistake by bowing to pressure, or was it in an impossible situation? Have you ever changed your shopping habits because a brand's actions didn't align with your values? If you enjoyed this video and want more business wizardry, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button.